are you okay? Yeah, sorry. I'm a Rick from another reality. I got uploaded to your clone vat. Hey, don't worry about it, man. I have a dozen. So tell the truth, man. No shame. You're looking at your shrimp body like, what? Is it that obvious? I'm sorry. Yeah, my original body is more bipedal, ape descended. Really? Weird. Does your house look like a tree, or? No, it looks like this. It's, like, identical to this, actually. And it's such a mindfuck. It's all good, man. I'm fine with it. Honestly, you're doing me a huge favor by being shrimp instead of fascists. What? God damn it, when did this shit become the default?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Downtime. My name is Nicholas Lamar Suter, and with me is Commander Lance McMillan. Lance, how are you?
I'm doing great.
That's good. So, a couple of things I was thinking about for today to get the business stuff we got to do out of the way. Breaking news. There has been what now appears to be a sixth strike. So first of all, it's been discovered. We knew about 3 strikes, boat strikes in the Caribbean. Turned out there was a 4th that we did not know about. And today there has now been a 5th. I think today's is the 5th. What is interesting about today's strike, we just learned about it, is that there are survivors. So this will be the first time that there is at least a possibility of seeing who they're hitting. We don't know the condition of the survivors. We don't know if they were rescued by third parties or if they were captured by the United States, but there are survivors. Meanwhile, in the midst of this, the head of U.S. Southern Command has resigned, saying that he is, well, no, he hasn't said anything. He and, I don't know if this is the head of Southern Command and the head of the U.S. military for Latin America the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we learned of this just a couple hours ago. The admiral who leads the U.S. military forces in Latin America will step down at the end of this year, 2 years ahead of schedule. 𝐒𝐬𝐜𝐴 announced it earlier today. It's a surprise move amongst escalating tensions with Venezuela. The Reuters report says that the obvious, which is that it's believed he has moral objections over what is occurring, and does not want to hold his position if it's going to involve both these boat attacks and engaging with Venezuela. He's also one of 2 remaining black admirals who are in command of combat positions. So that's the first thing, is that the first 2, the boat. One more boat has been hit with survivors, and the admiral in command of those regions has resigned. We also learned, apparently, in January, a number of nobody knows exactly how this happened. 2 Republican congressman offices have been found with the following American flag. Let me show it to you. This was actually the first one. He's got 2 flags up. Do you see anything interesting about that?
It's an interesting variation on a theme.
Yeah. So apparently that flag has been there unnoticed for months. And the congressman has said that it's an optical illusion. he couldn't tell, he had no idea. And what they're finding now is that flag, and we have a close-up of it. This is that flag, and what they've done is they've highlighted it actually doesn't look to me, the Fox News is reporting that these flags all got shipped out to every congressman, and some inadvertently put them up without realizing. Sure. Yeah. This looks like something that you could actually just tack on. If you take a look, it looks like there was originally a regular flag under it, and then the swastika just gets strategically put on, and the swastika has white to cover up the red. But at any rate, apparently there's going to be a full investigation, and we're all completely delighted, and I'm sure they're going to get to the bottom of it. Speaking of full investigations, there was already a U.S. Federal indictment of Smartmatic voting. It was over alleged bribes in the Philippines and possibly in Venezuela. Now, it included only 3 people. It has been updated with a superseding indictment to include the entire company. So now the entire company is being sued, meaning the entire company is at jeopardy. This is important because I remember when when Dominion closed out and made a deal with Fox and said, okay, we'll settle for $700 million. I wanted them to keep going because that's how we were going to find out all the stuff. It was all going to come out in trial, and they didn't. Smartmatic said they were going to keep going. They were going to go all the way. They had and they're much more known internationally. They're smaller in the U.S. than Dominion, but they are much larger elsewhere. And they said basically all of their business dried up everywhere across the world, and that's why they believe $2.7 billion from Fox News is appropriate. Well, as you guys know, just last week, a Republican oligarch, the wealthy, the capitalist oligarch, purchased Dominion Voting, changed the name, and dropped all the suits against Mike Lindell, America One Network, everything that it had outstanding for the false claims and the lies given by Fox and others during the 2020 election. So, hold on a sec. It's, we'll put the picture on the server. So, I don't know. My hope is that this doesn't actually jeopardize them, but this coming on the heels of Dominion would leave one voting company large enough to service the U.S. and no competition, and they are in the hands of the Republicans, with the remaining one. I know. I'm filled with innuendo, and what can you do?
We're going to keep after me. Vast criminal conspiracy. Just say it. It rolls off the tongue really easily.
Vast criminal conspiracy. Well, and actually, the unfortunately, that's essentially the defense given by Smartmatic, which I believe, not vast criminal conspiracy, but their defense was. This is another targeted, political, and unjust suit. Smartmatic will continue to stand by its people and its principles. We will not be intimidated by those pulling the strings of power. Now, the good news is because they are an international company, they've got the ability to fight back. And this suit it's a federal suit, and it doesn't. So it's seeking criminal charges. It's not like a civil suit. So they may end up trying to shut the company down. Who knows? But I said 2020. I think it's 2016. At any rate, it's just one more. It's in the Discord. So there's an interesting topic I'd sort of wanted to talk to you about. It's an exercise I used to do a lot when I was first learning philosophy, did it in college. I've gotten away from it, and I really liked it, and I thought it was an interesting exercise. Before we do the exercise, let's do this, because it does pertain to it. Trump has once again opined on his getting to heaven. As you recall, we played the video of him saying that, trying to do the math and calculate how many people he needed to save in order to get to heaven. Well, if it's 7,000 a day, and so on and so forth. So let's wait a minute, why isn't it? I literally, okay, here it is.
Look at all the Venezuelan fishing boats he's saving.
Yeah.
You had talked a couple of weeks ago, you were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly an Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but it made life a lot better for a lot of people. And
so
Shit.
that is, I'm gonna be honest with you. That is unusually frank, and I think he means it. I mean, he really is just like, I'm not getting in it. Let's be honest, folks.
Oh yeah.
Just
no.
Oh. So so this exercise,
essentially admitting I'm not a godly person. I don't do good things, but I help people who are, good at summoning buses.
Between that and he's also now, we're bailing out Venezuela. Marjorie Taylor Greene has suddenly become the voice of reason, and I don't know how or when this happened, but either I'm going insane or we have entered an alternate universe. Marjorie Taylor Greene, talking about our bailout of Argentina, said, quote, America is getting decimated with a high cost of living and skyrocketing insurance costs. Yes, the insurance costs are about to go up October 1st, significantly. Many of them have zero savings, and some are maxing out credit cards to survive. Tell me how it's America first to bail out a foreign country with 20 billion or even 40 billion taxpayer dollars. She's referring to the bailout of Argentina, which we've actually done in the past. But last time we did it, it was because their economy was so bad, we were worried about contagion. If we didn't bail them out and if they didn't stabilize, the U.S. economy was going to suffer dramatically. This is not the case this time. They're probably not going to pay us back. They have horrible credit rating. They don't usually pay back. Yeah. So, now the first 20 billion, as my understanding, is a credit swap. Not credit, sorry, a swap in currency. I don't know how that helps, except to give them ostensibly hard currency. I don't know what the, and maybe that helps stabilize them and then give them another 40 billion. But I'm all for helping other countries, and I'm not sure, I don't know enough about it to know if I'm for it or against it, but it's a good point. It's like, okay, it's America first, and here he is bailing out Argentina. Do you have any idea why he's doing that, by the way? Is there?
It's part of America. It's South America.
That's right. It's the 52nd state.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, anybody with half a functioning brain cell knows that he doesn't care about the United States. This is something he's doing for Argentina because I'm sure that there's money siphoning back into his personal accounts.
Yeah, somebody's got to be picking
I find it bizarre that I'm saying this, but Greene is correct in that it makes no sense when we're not even paying our own people, but requiring them to work anyway. And here we are giving billions of dollars to a country we don't have any real alliance or special ties to.
The government is shut down. People we're not paying. Yeah, that's a really good point. So, good to see Greg. I was harassing him earlier. I find Greg is very informative, but one of the major reasons I go over there is just to give him a hard time. It's like I can give him a hard time, and there's nothing he can. He did one. What I love is it was a tiny mistake, and he fixed it within about 90 seconds. But I caught it. Where he had done on his promo, Putin does, Zelensky changes his mind and does a 360. And I was just like, wait,
360
what?
would be going in the same direction you were going.
I was just like, wait, what? I was just like, and I saw it post. I was like, I got to let him know. By the time I had finished typing my thing, he had already fixed it and said 180. But,
it's like ballet, you get up there on your tippy toes and you spin around in circles.
Yeah. So now, literally every chance I get, I was just like, so today I was just like, Putin is.
Believe it or not, that's a fairly common mistake. The number of people who use that expression and don't even realize that they've said something dumb. And as you say, Greg caught himself that fast. So.
He did, which is that's what makes it so good. Is like, oh, you thought you got away with that. Now basically if I could find a way, just today he had on Viper and they were talking about and I think so. Unfortunately, it really has gotten to the point, and Zelensky must have figured this out. Basically, every time Trump has a phone call or meeting with Putin, Zelensky has to schedule one immediately after. You have to do it because Trump is going to do what. And Trump has been really pro-Ukraine. He has now had a phone call with Putin, and he's already showing signs of sliding back, and apparently said today that he's seeing signs that peace can be made. It's like he didn't say that after talking to Zelensky, but now he's saying, and he still hasn't met with Putin in person. Zelensky needs to stay on that. So, I was just like, so is Trump gonna change his mind and do a 360, or do you think he's going to keep going the same way? That's it. That's good to see you, Greg. So, when I started with, I want to get into two things. We've got a clip, one of my favorite sayings from the talented Mr. Ripley, and I'm going to get into this, which was the autobiography I wrote of a psychologist who did 10 years as a therapist in Walpole Maximum Security Prison. And everybody he met there thought they were a good person. Everybody he met there thought they were a good person. They're all innocent. That's what I mean. Some of them knew they committed the crime, but you'd have done it too if you would have been in my shoes. So it's this real interesting psychology. So I want to try to dovetail into that and get into that in a minute, because we see people doing so many horrible things and finding so many ways to justify it, and so few people. We've now got this admiral who's standing down, but how many people are, and to see MAGA taking something seriously, which they have been so far on Epstein, but how long is that going to last? Anyways, so before we get there, this was the exercise, which I would say, okay, what do you want out of life? And tell me in one word. Now, in some cases, English doesn't really allow for one word, so to be happy, I would take just happiness. But and everybody, every time I say this, people are like, oh, that's easy. Why ask that question? Anyone can answer. And what I found is, no, I've gotten a lot of freedom is one of the more common answers I've got. I want to be free. I don't like people telling me what to do. That's it. So, and then if I have freedom, I'll be happy. But freedom is that word. So what if you had to distill out of one? And for me, that answer was always happiness. I always said I want to be happy. That's it. And what I've realized is I haven't lived my life that way. I have valued truth over happiness, and I've done that more than once. so it's interesting that I say happiness, and yet, as I get older, I'm like, yeah, maybe I should learn my lesson and not poke certain bears. But anyways, that's it for me. So if you had to distill what you would like out of life to one word, what would that word be if you could think about it?
Well, as you say, happiness is an obvious response. But I think a lot of that would obviate you having to come up with what constitutes happiness for you, because what may make you happy or Bob happy or the orange shit gibbon happy may not necessarily make me happy. So you have to, I think, explain when you say happiness.
Well, I think that's why happiness isn't always, it was actually not usually the word I'd get. Usually it's whatever would make someone happy. And it's interesting that in my mind I hadn't necessarily gone there. But so if you ask Trump, for example, I don't think he's going to say happiness. I think he's going to say respect.
Money.
Or
well, I think it would not be respect, because he does so many things that guarantee he's not going to have respect.
But he thinks he's got respect. He thinks he's the mobster. He thinks he's...
No, because he does so much stuff that pisses people off and makes them even, and he seems to delight in doing that. I think what he wants is to be feared.
So a respect-based, a fear-based respect, fear. 'Cause it's more than just power too. He doesn't just want power, because it's not. Plenty of people have power, but nobody know they have power. No, they have to know. So he doesn't actually want power for its own sake.
I think it's pretty obvious that he was stunned when he won the first election. I don't think he wanted to win. I think it was all a means to get publicity and to be able to get this huge campaign treasure chest, which then he'd, siphon tons of money out of to enrich himself. And I don't think he believed in his wildest dreams it was going to ever pan out for him. And then when he got there, it was like, wow, I can make people do what I want. I can make them fear me. Because if you look at his business practices, it's always been about getting his rivals, his competitors to fear him.
And to offer tributes. The line of people, that was disgusting. The line of people to pay tribute to him in he wasn't actually in the Oval Office. He was in, or maybe he wasn't. The line was out there. I think he was in the meeting room where they all meet. But it was just this line, and even tech giants were like handing him, like from Apple, he got a replica of the first Apple device or something like that, but it was gold plated, and the whole and it's just, so that's I mean,
I think that speaks volumes too, is that if people liked him, they wouldn't be giving him, gold plated stuff. They'd be giving him stuff that they think, he'd appreciate, that it would, make his life easier or better, that he would know then that they liked him. And instead, it's these cheesy gewgaws of, ooh, look, plastic coated piece of crap. Oh, wow, man. It's the act of giving him tribute that matters. It's not what the item is that matters. There's no thought put into it that matters.
It reminds me, I think you and I both liked The Machine, that comedian who was in Russia, and he said that when he was doing comedy in Russia, essentially, and he was being he was being a very bad boy, which in Russia you can get away with if you're cool with it, about it, which he was. But he ended up, he was on the train, and the conductor came in to pay his tributes, which they all have to pay tribute to everybody higher up on the police, have to the police command, the whole nine yards. And that's the society that it's as you had pointed out, it's this mafia mentality that he really, and that's why I don't know that there's a word for it. It's a combination of respect and fear. It's definitely not the kind of respect that you have for Einstein. It's
the
but
respect. I think that the whole tribute issue plays into the other thing that really matters to him is his bank account. He wants to be the wealthiest man on the planet. That's why he keeps lying about how much money he has, because he has to inflate himself to make himself look more important than he is. That's the insecure little boy.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I mean, he's been bankrupt so many times, and he's so.
But his style of living has never suffered for that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't know that the money is necessarily what's important. It's the style of living that's important.
Yeah, but it's also the money is a tool that allows him to gain access, to gain leverage to things that he wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Let's be honest. If he were just, some schmo real estate developer in Des Moines, Iowa, would he be being invited to Epstein's Island?
No.
And that's my point, is that he wants that kind of recognition. He wants people to, be in a position where he has dominance over them. I think this all goes back to his childhood, where he never felt like his father loved him, and he's looking for some way to prove to Daddy that I'm better than you. And even though Dad's long dead, this is the psychological thing that triggers him every time, is I have to prove that I deserve Daddy's love, even though he never gave it to me. Because look how well I've done. I've done better than you ever did, old man. Yeah,
he's stunted. He's emotionally stunted at the age of 12, and you can see it in his speech. You can see it in his. I mean, it's just everything he does. So, Dunk on You, $20. Been absent a bit. Hope all is well. Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava, и спасибо большое. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. It's good to see you. Dunk on You also gifted 5 in-time memberships. Thank you, Dunk, for that and for your continued support. It means a lot. We really do appreciate it. Sinister Porpoise, $5.12. I expect not to see anyone at the No Kings protests Saturday, as it would displease the regime. Please be sure to use Turing to decode this enigma.
There's a lot of truth to it, because it's the people that he's attracted around him, the same mentality. So you get a woman who's playing the Ghostbusters theme on a clarinet in front of an ice thing, and they beat her up, throw her on the ground, handcuff her, and haul her away because she's making fun of them. Yeah. And I don't even think that playing Ghostbusters is necessarily making fun of them. It's just, it's something they can't countenance, because they, like Trump, want to be feared.
Well, it's making fun of the situation, which is at least as bad. It's like, you can have ice there, and I'm going to play the Ghostbusters theme on the clarinet. It's just sort of like, okay, you're not afraid of us. That needs to be changed. That was what I thought. I was like, again, it had gone over my head, but when they arrested the guy who threw the Subway sandwich, and he had offered to turn himself in, and I was like, this is what they do instead. Isn't this a waste? And you're like, no, but did you hear the clack-on sounds? They're like, it's just like, it's literally the reason. If Star Wars were real, the Death Star would still have been painted black. Darth Vader would have been black. Everything would have deliberately been intimidating. And the reason is because, not because it's a movie, but because that's how fascist organizations operate. They scare they're there to scare the living shit out of you, so that nobody can get enough courage to try to fight back. And that's why he's going after the leadership too. He's going after the governors. He's going after the governors is something that nobody's really thought about doing for a very long time in any meaningful way. The last time anyone really cared about the governors was Rove. He didn't want to go after them insofar as like politically. He just said, listen, if we get the governors, we get the White House. And that was unfortunately a pretty, that was a very good insight. he was right. So yeah. So that was it. I wanted to, yeah.
I was going to say another thing that plays into this, and this is topical because it's news from this week, is this whole thing of he's going to be firing missiles into California.
Excuse what?
Tomahawk missiles are going to be fired at California. Now, it was said that way for obvious reasons. What it is now being explained away as is we're going to be firing some missiles into the range at Camp Pendleton to help celebrate the Marine Corps' 250th birthday.
But they're going to be firing them from somewhere outside of California.
Yeah, at sea, somewhere off the coast.
Oh, my God.
Right. Now, I don't know if you've been to California and Camp Pendleton, which is where they're going to be sending these things in. Highway 5, the north-south interstate that connects California, from the Mexican border all the way up to Canada at the northern border in Washington. It goes through Camp Pendleton. So that means these live missiles are going to be flying across a freeway, which is very heavily traveled.
Oh, my God.
So Newsom said, well, if you're going through with this, I'm going to have to shut down I-5 until your exercise is over. I'm doing that for public safety reasons.
Good.
Now they're all trying to say, well, Newsom's just a coward. Then, we can throw our missiles where we want in our own camp. And you talk to anybody, because all the discussion sites where this has come up, anybody who was in the Navy or Marines in Southern California, all that kind of stuff is done on San Clemente Island, which is a big island off the coast, about 30 miles off the coast. It's owned exclusively by the Navy, and it's been used as a gunfire and missile impact site since before World War II. So if you were trying to do something, that would be where you might want to do it. But what they want is to have fireworks to impress people with how powerful they are. California, Los Angeles is just up the road from Camp Pendleton, and they're getting pushback from the folks in Los Angeles from the ice raids. So how do you cow them? Well, you just, throw big missiles nearby and say, hey, we could be shooting these at you if we wanted to.
Wow. Thank you. Titan sent me a link on it.
Yeah.
It gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, they're doing this during the No Kings rallies. That's not an accident.
I think not.
Second of all, what did you say about the closures?
Shutting down I-5?
No.
Newsom said he's going to do that if they go through with this.
No, the Marine Corps has said Newsom isn't allowed to do that, and they will not permit I-5 to be closed.
That's going to be an interesting fight.
The Marine Corps said I-5 will remain open after Gavin Newsom raised concerns over the live fire exercised during a military celebration on Saturday. So the Marine Corps, who has no authority, they may have authority to close it, actually. That I would assume they have in case of emergency. But they have no authorization to open it.
Yeah.
If it's
fact,
closed.
We had one lane of it closed when I did an exercise there with the Army.
So the Marine Corps is apparently saying that they will not be there. There will be no, so it's not that they won't close. It's there. No highways or transportation routes will be closed. That is the declaration from the Marine Corps after Newsom saying he's going to close them.
They don't have that authority.
Well, they have Tomahawk missiles.
Still, they don't have that authority.
That would be my understanding. Anything we can do to celebrate our vets and to celebrate our heroes, I'm all for, Newsom said Thursday. Let's just do it in coordination and collaboration with state and local leaders. This continues to be a struggle with this administration. That's about the most polite way I've ever heard anyone. Yes, it's a struggle. They're firing ordnance into Jesus.
Okay, so Titan said here, federal government provides funding for and sets standards for interstates. States own them and are responsible for maintenance. Included in that would be public safety on the road.
Yep. Well,
and if you don't think having a missile flying over people going to Disneyland.
And listen, all it takes is one person
Yeah.
who didn't get the news flash that there's going to be a Tomahawk missile flying overhead. It flies over. He goes, what the hell is? And all of a sudden he slams into somebody else and creates a 16-car pileup.
35-car pileups on the freeway.
Yep. No, yeah. I'm trying to dislike Newsom, and here's why. I didn't like him before this started, and he's doing all this stuff that I like, so I'm trying to say, okay, let's not like him just because he's been handed this opportunity, and he is rising to the occasion. But so far, he's been rising to the occasion well. So, it may be unfair of me. I just don't, I still, there's something about him that bugs me. But, at any rate, let's see. Newsom is cutting that traffic. Cutting off a major artery would affect up to 80,000 travelers a day.
He's not turning it off for, the full day. He's turning it off for whatever period they say they're going to be sending these things over.
This is I mean, this really is, and I mean, it's not, we already know everything he says is utter horseshit. We already know it's patently false and a lie, but it's like he's firing missiles into a military base that nobody's really going to see the explosions. Nobody's going to see, so it's not to celebrate anything except it's a show of force by firing weapons into our own weapons into the United States and into California, of all places. Wow. Any thoughts on, I have to believe that there are fault lines growing inside the U.S. military as people who, and we know, we've talked about this, that they've been. That's
why the guy at Southcam probably left.
We know there's been a concerted effort to get white nationalists into the military, and it's been a concerted effort for a while. It's been a plan. Those people have had to be very quiet. Those people have had to really sit on their beliefs and recruit from inside, but do so very discreetly. Now they can speak out a lot more and may or may not come as a shock to the rest who take their oaths to the Constitution very seriously and are being very disturbed by this. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Since I worked at DODIG, let's say some officer decides he's, had enough of all this liberal stuff and is going to, so he starts calling out women, minorities, what have you, and making life difficult for them. Somebody files a complaint against him. That's how it's done.
Yes.
That complaint then goes up the chain. So if you have somebody above, let's say, the company commander, it goes to the battalion commander and he reviews it and sends comments on it. And not entirely, but kind of at each level, whoever the commander is has the wherewithal to say, I don't think this holds water. We're going to toss it out.
So it just takes one in that chain to bury it.
That's right. So exactly. So you get one person in that chain who decides, yeah, we're going to let that neo-Nazi say all those horrible things he wants. We don't care. That's a good thing. We'd like more people like him in the military. And people who complain, therefore, are now labeled as troublemakers. They won't ever get promoted. They will be given less desirable jobs and assignments. They will eventually exit the service, and we can populate the military with good, God-fearing Nazis, Republicans. I'm sorry. Slip of the tongue. Slip of the tongue.
Yep, it's all right. Those spasms. Once you got that hip replaced, some of those muscles, just like weird ones, just trigger.
Yeah.
Oh dear Lord. So we had a question, and I know the answer, but I also know you're still 10 times more qualified to answer it, which is there was a question about tomahawks are about 30 years old. How sure are we that they're not going to miss their targets and I assume land on the freeway?
They are quite reliable. They're very accurate. That said, there are always flaws that develop. The longer that thing sits in the warehouse, so to speak, it's going to have flaws. But my recollection is that out of, let's say 100 some missiles that were fired at the start of Desert Storm, 2 malfunctioned.
I do think that at this point, later on, Trump might want something like that, but I think at this point, Trump wants them to hit their target. He is not looking to cause those kinds of headaches. He's got enough on his plate as it is. If one of those misses and hits us, so I'm talking to the live chat just because they were concerned about it. So
I don't think it's any deliberate attempt to put people in danger. I think it is a deliberate attempt to send a message.
Yeah.
And Hegseth knows about as much about the U.S. military as my dog does. So, he probably thought, oh, big fireworks show, let's shoot some tomahawks. And with his kind of personality and the people that surround higher level appointees, so the political level in the military, you tend to get a lot of yes men. These aren't the guys that will say, maybe we should consider the possibility this isn't the safest thing in the world. Maybe we could say that just for 15 minutes during the envelope of when we're going to begin conducting this event, we're going to close down I-5, just that brief period. And we announce it to everybody well in advance so that there aren't any problems, et cetera, et cetera. Nobody would have questioned that. Everything would have gone out without anybody saying anything. But what they want is that message of fear. What if a missile accidentally. Well, and then immediately that throws the conspiracy helmets on, and I'll bet they did it deliberately, and all of this, but it adds to their reputation. That's the key.
It actually reminds me, and it was Porpoise had said this in the live chat when we were talking about it earlier. I talked about my Russian teacher Oleg, his father, who received a letter in the mail saying Stalin wants you to go to Red Square, tomorrow at 10 p.m. Yada yada yada, and that was his death. He was going to be shot. And they were shooting hundreds of people at a time, so they'd take 200 people in the square, shoot them all, and then the next day shoot another 200. He had a heart attack, went to the hospital, didn't go to the square, and I was always kind of, my entire life, I first heard that story, I think I was 12, my entire life I was like, why didn't they come after him later? And you had said it, but Porpoise had put it in a way that was just like
bureaucratic inefficiency.
It was the job was already done. It's not that they wanted him dead; they wanted him and everybody around him terrified. So they were just shooting random people. And if somebody slipped through the cracks, oh well. It wasn't about him in the first place. He hadn't really done anything. It was just about, we're sending people these letters, we're killing these people, and if someone managed to get away, that's almost just as good because he can tell everybody else, he's going to scare the living shit out of everybody. The goal was fear. They did it. So, I don't know. The situation reminds me of that. Speaking of Sinister Porpoise, a couple super chats I want to read. And Porpoise said this, and we'll get to my personal blog. I haven't done my blog in a while. I did, I think in 2016, I don't remember, when Trump was first running for office, I said a plausible path to the end of the U.S. Republic. And I said how electing Trump could end and it's scary how close I got. That article is still up. At some point, I'll try to find it and drop it in the live chat. But I haven't actually blogged or posted it in a while. But one of the last things we did was have a contest to see what he should be called, because I could not call him president. I was not going to call him president, but he deserved an honorific, because he did have the office. So we came up, I just said, here are 5 choices. I let my audience pick, and the winner was Pussy Grabber in Chief. So that's what we call him on the Nick Suter in time. We haven't had a designation, but Sinister Porpoise was asking, let's see, what was the choices? Admiral Bone Spurs, or General Bone Spur. Well, for Taco, you see, I don't know what, because he's not an admiral or a general. He could be the Bone Spur in Chief. We'll have to. Bone Spur in Chief. Yeah,
I like that.
Okay. So I think on this show we will now, when referring to him in the honorific, he is the Bone Spur in Chief. Sister Porpoise also $2. Trump is doing math. Clip cert didn't happen. We played the clip already. I'm not going to make Lance suffer through it again. But he was actually doing the math. He's like, if it's 6,000, is that enough to get me into heaven? If it's 6,000 a day, and I know I don't get full credit, but I mean, he was really trying to figure out the utility behind how to get in. It was bizarre. Yeah,
it's reminiscent of the whole thing with selling indulgences that led up to the Reformation.
That's what it was. Yep.
The whole idea was to use the uncertainty of what you needed to have done to get into heaven. So, just to be on the safe side, you want to buy this fragment of St. John the Baptist's left knee or something, and they preyed on people with this just to generate money, and the indulgence sellers would sell literal garbage to people. And that was one of the main reasons that Martin Luther had for posting the 95 Theses, is to say, it's not that determines whether you're saved or not. It's what kind of a person you are, and that's determined by God himself. I'm not subscribing to that argument, but
that was Luther's.
The whole,
Luther,
Yeah, it's the whole predestination vice free will argument.
But I've debated more than my share of Calvinists. I remember standing in St. Peter's Basilica. Not only am I an atheist, I'm actually an anti-theist. And people who know what I was doing before the show know that because I did a number of debates. I did a few debates with some famous people. Those are also on my channel. If you just look up my channel, you'll find it. We want to do a new show. There's enough atheist and anti-theist shows out there. But what was the whole point of getting into my trip to Rome, and I've always been sort of the opinion that you can't paint all of religion with one brush. It does help some people, and then some people do need it, and you're never going to get around that. And it does accomplish some things. It also, to get a good person to do good things, all you have to do is just let them be themselves. But to get a good person to do bad things, that takes religion.
Yeah.
And I was in the center of St. Peter's Basilica. And it's gorgeous. It's worth seeing, except that you're getting money to the. And what's most amazing, I sat there looking at it, going like, I don't know that we could build this thing today using like cranes and modern technology. This is insane. And this was built with slaves. Oh, sorry. What did I? Oh. Something there.
Indentured servants,
and paid for entirely through indulgences. Most of those indulgences for sleeping with prostitutes, which had has often been popular, but had at that particular time was a big thing, and with the indulgences for that just took off. So it's a little weird to be sitting in one of the greatest marvels of human history and realizing it was all paid for by the complete abandonment and betrayal of all of the ideals of all of those who built it just to get it. I'm just like, this is, wow.
But it made the Pope look good to complete it.
Yep. It's really an interesting.
I love those Medicis.
Yeah.
And if you don't, they'll chop your head off.
Yeah, or burn you at the stake, just in case. Apparently, chopping the head for some reason is
chopping the heads was for their favored enemies.
Exactly.
So I'm going to leave you for a sec because I was remiss.
All right.
Last week. I need to fetch.
Yes, you do. I will keep it a secret. Go fetch the thing. I'll do the super chats. Perfect. So, you're in for a treat now, folks. Nobody's here to see me. They're here to see what's about to come. Sinister Porpoise, Trump doing math. Yeah, it was this utilitarian. How many people do I need to save to get into heaven? Save freedom, mock fascism today. $2 Sinister Porpoise again. Thank you, and thank you, Sinister Porpoise, for 3 super chats. That's really great. It helps in the algorithm. It, as you know as well as anybody. So, bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it, and always appreciate your humor and your snark. So, thank you so much for that. And UTV and Ham, and I did see Snarky Time. I did see that. UTV and Ham gifted 1 membership. Thank you. Your good deed of the day. I'm not confirming that, UTV and Ham. So we cannot confirm or deny. Pyro, it cannot confirm or deny. We're not. There's a lot of speculation happening in the live chat of a news show. This isn't what we do. We don't speculate. I just want to, some of us in the know. Yeah, some of you were here last week, so And again, notice, like I said, everyone's more excited about this than, it's like, hi, welcome to Downtime. My name is Nick Suter. Yeah, we know who you are. Just get on with the come on, get on with the show. But talk about maybe bringing a puppy on, and everyone's like, ah. Oh dear Lord. Live fire event over I-5. Oh, Jesus. Vance, the first, yeah. And Commander Bonespur, or Commander-in-Chief, oh, there he is. Oh, that puppy is bigger than... Wow. Hi there.
This is River.
Hello, River. Hi, River. You're very patient for still just, being a week in.
She was snapping.
How old is she?
About 12 weeks right now.
Oh my God. Wow. Oh, that is a cute pup. I gotta check the live chat and see what I'm gonna have to snap some screenshots of that.
She is a, let me remember, she is a ginger woolly Malamute.
Ginger woolly, well, it looks brown from, or like a light brown. Yeah.
There are a bunch, but it's not a common thing for a ginger dog like this.
It is red, isn't it? I can tell when it goes against your shirt. It looks brown, but when it's against your shirt, I can tell it's red.
It will kind of get more tan pinkish as she gets older. And woolly because she's got much longer and fluffier hair than the other Mals we've had.
I am curious if she were to take a bath, how much she'd look like a drowned rat. It would just be.
Oh, yeah, no. She looks huge, as you said, but in reality, if she gets wet, she's tiny. She's really small.
She's looking right into the camera. She's like, what are you? Oh, yeah.
There's a little paw.
Yeah. Oh, God, UTV and Ham just donated $2. Treats for the pup.
She gets plenty of treats. She's spoiled.
I'm sure River is. How's the other one handling it?
Zuko, who's the other remaining one after we lost the previous two, Zuko is really okay with her. They get along famously. They play together. When she gets, as puppies are wont to do, a little too aggressive in playing, he just growls at her and she backs off. So it's a good relationship.
I imagine. So to answer the live chat, I imagine you could use her as a sponge, just like just toss her into, like, if there's a puddle, just toss her in, take her, wring her out.
The unfortunate corollary to that is she isn't housebroken yet, and she has a bad tendency to lie down or roll over next to whatever she eats on the ground. And as you said, it's a sponge and it absorbs yellow liquid really well.
I had a black lab mix who very well trained, with one exception, which was for some reason mud. Wasn't water, but labs love water. Wasn't big on water. You could get him to swim, but wasn't really easy to do. Wasn't big on water. Wasn't big on dirt. Wasn't big on sand. Mud.
Yeah.
Wham! And he'd run, jump, and then land face first. So his face is hitting the mud first. Bam! And then slide through the mud. And you just see this trail where the dog... And then he gets up and he's so proud of himself. And a full half his face is just matted back with the thickest... And whatever's been rotting in there, too, is like... He smells like horrible. It's just like... Oh,
put you down.
God.
Don't poop in my office, please. There you go. Good girl.
Oh. So, Oh, you can take her back upstairs if that's easier for you. I can.
Probably be safer.
Oh, okay, yeah, go take her back
we're
upstairs.
close to sign off time anyway, aren't we?
We are. You know what? We could probably call it a show. Is there any final thoughts? I learned at some point. At some point, I'm going to bring up that one word thing again because I do think it seems like everyone's going to say happiness, but no. And freedom was one that I heard a lot. What was the other one?
Safety. About it.
Safety.
Since you brought it up.
Yeah.
And I think I've come up with my answer.
Mm-hmm.
To be useful.
Ooh. I like that one. All right. Well, I hope the live chat's going to think about it. I hope we get to discuss this again.
It's a great topic.
And like I said, I used to do it all the time. I'd ask everybody, and I got known for like a year. I'd ask everybody, and it's interesting because it forces you to figure out. We all, like you had said, we all want to be happy, but it forces you to figure out what is it that you're really. How are you? And it's All right. Any final thoughts before we go? You doing anything for Kings, or you gonna put on a bomb helmet?
It's going to be raining heavily with heavy winds that day up here. And B, that's when I do the Ukraine update stream on the shills.
Oh, that's right. All right. Well, good. Good for you on that. In time is I'm gonna be here all day. I'm going to be here. We may or may not go live. It just depends on whether there's something to go live with. We'll probably do at least an update if they're big enough, and I hope and suspect they will be. We'll do an update letting you guys know how they went off and how everything went. And then we'll just be, I think, on standby in case something goes down.
My wife's going to the little local one that we're having in our town here, and depending on timing, if Shills wraps up early enough, I'll go in and join her. But given the weather, I'm disinclined to make an effort.
All right. What we're going to do, we're trying to get better about redirecting on every show, and sometimes I forget to do the raids. And Mark Reed is up, and so I figure I'm going to send you guys over to Mark Reed. Let's see. The fundamentalist fails right-wing propaganda of Eric Hovind. Oh, God, following in his father's footsteps. Speaking of people I debated. All right. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Lance. Good to see you. And we will see. Our next scheduled show is Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure we'll be live well before that. Have a good night, all.